What's up, YouTube? This is Swide from Hebrew Legends, and I want to talk to you guys today about lightning spells. I've said in a couple videos before, and a number of other, it's just been commonly associated with lightning spells, an idea of kind of randomness. You can't predict where they're going to go. Sometimes where you drop them, they're going to kill the CC, they're going to kill the mortar, and sometimes they won't, because the strikes are presumably random. I'm here today to tell you that that's not true, that they're actually very predictable, and that they follow a very distinct pattern, which I want to show you. I am going to scroll through here just a few images, just so you guys can get an idea. The lightning spell, quite simply, the strikes change, the strike pattern changes only depending upon where in your spells you use the lightning spell. And what I mean by that is, for a Town Hall 9 you've got 4 spells, a Town Hall 8 you have 3, and a Town Hall 10 you have 5 spells. So if I use the lightning spell in a raid or in a war attack, if I use it as my first spell, the first spell I drop, it has a distinct strike pattern. However, if I use the same spell as the second spell that I drop, let's say I use a jump first, and then I decide to lightning the CC that comes out, it has a different but distinct strike pattern. And the same goes if you use it as your third spell, or if you use it as your fourth spell, and your fifth if you're a Town Hall 10. Each time, that's what changes the strike pattern. There's no sense of randomness to it. It only depends upon where in your spells you actually use it. So hopefully you've seen here that each time the strikes remain exactly the same every time, only dependent upon where you use it in the number of spells that you bring. You may not believe me. That sounds crazy, but I am going to show you right now a few replays that support that claim. And then I'll show you actually a couple tidbits from a couple war replays where I use this kind of strike pattern to my advantage, or someone else does. Let's look. I did a raid particularly for this, so let's look at that first. It's just this last raid. I ended up barching it anyway, because it was a revenge. But I am going to scroll over here. I just use it. I drop each one right here on this camp. And you'll see here that each pattern perfectly resembles the pattern that I showed initially. Look at that. Looks like a number 2 or something. That's if you use it as your first spell. If you use it as your second spell, it every single time strikes in this way. Like that. Use it as your third spell. I think you can see where this is going. Every single time it strikes like this, like an A. I'll just fast forward because I think you guys get the idea. Every single time they strike like this, as long as you're using them in the same position of your spells. I had I am only a Town Hall 9, and I don't have the 5th spell, so I got a leader. I got Roy, one of our other leaders in Hebrew Legends, to do the exact same thing with his. So he's going to drop it right over here on this little wall. Just so you know I'm not crazy. This is the first spell, and it looked like a kind of a 2 before. Oh, look at that. It's the same thing again. Who could have predicted? You can from now on. Every single time the lightning strikes identically if you use it in the order of your spells. Wherever you're using it, that's how it's going to strike. And hopefully you saw at the beginning. If you need to, go ahead and rewind and watch. I give you the patterns right at the beginning of the video. This is such a powerful, powerful tool. You are going to be able to use... you're never going to miss a witch again out of the CC. So many times, I've missed, and that's the 5th one that I didn't show before, but, every single time you drop a spell and you need it to go somewhere, it's going to go that way from now on, which is great, which is amazing. I want to show a couple replays quick and just show, this is our current war. Let's show just a past war, and I'll show you how I'm using this to my advantage. It takes a couple of practice attempts to really see how they strike. and to, get a CC that's moving, that's sometimes difficult, especially, because there's about a half second in between each strike, and each strike has about a 2-tile splash, quite almost exactly a 2-tile splash. So right where it strikes, you'll have from that point, so I'll use this American flag over here to be nationalistic. If you strike right here, you'll have 2 tiles splash every direction, if that makes sense. So you can base that, if a CC's coming out, you don't need to bunch them up as much anymore, as long as you know how your lightning's going to strike. Just as a preface, this was a cleanup tack. I did not know those Teslas were there, but only because I watched the replay. And you can see my lens didn't even work out that well. So this was a shattered surgical, but what happens is not actually important. I want you guys to watch the lightning spell. So I'm just going to fast forward a little bit here. I'm going to drop a jump spell so my golems go in. And then here comes the CC. So I knew this guy had a witch. It's right here. And that's my main priority. Wizards, minions, I don't care. My queen and couple wizards are going to take care of those while the golem tanks for him. I'm worried about the time that the witch can take up and how she can pull your troops the wrong way. So that's what I focus on. I've already dropped one spell, so I know that my lightning spell is going to use the second pattern that I showed initially. So I take that into account, knowing that there's 2 strikes that are close together in kind of the southeast of the lightning circle, so to speak. I use that to my advantage, and I go ahead and drop it really early. And this is where I drop the spell. You can see the little blue line right here, because I know there's going to be 2 strikes that happen right about here. And this witch, based on where she's headed, because here's my golem, I know she's going to run into those. See that? So I knew she was going to drop in somewhere around here, and that 2 lightning strikes were going to go there as well. And guys, I've been using this. I've been waiting to get kind of enough data to make sure this is working every single time, but it really does work every single time. I've done this for about 2 weeks, and I have not missed a CC lightning in that time period. It always comes out in the exact same pattern in this way. I want to show just one more quick, just so you can see kind of in practice what this looks like. Let's do 21 here. Lube is on this one. So he brings, 3 heals and a lightning, but he's going to draw the CC out and just lightning them kind of on the fly. I'll fast forward a little bit. Golems are going in. Bombers go down to let them in. Okay, so there's the lightning. Right here. Okay. We'll play this. And the strikes were in that 2 pattern, and so he ends up missing a number of units because of that. But had he known, and had I told him a little earlier that that's how that spell is going to hit, he could have accounted for it, dropped it a little bit lower and to the right, and that would have killed the whole CC. Level 6 minions, level 6 wizards, I think, no matter what, will end up having a little bit of health left. Unless you drop it right on them. If you can get them with 3 or 4 strikes, they may go down, actually. In any case, this happens every single time, guys. Every single time. Pretty incredible tool for you guys to build into your tack. There have been a couple other YouTubers, I think, that have put out, this is how you can always kill a mortar or a wizard tower when you're raiding using 2 lightnings. What they were doing was just taking advantage of those patterns, watching where the lightning strikes overlap and just getting 4 lightning strikes in those positions. They just didn't know that at the time. A couple other things to think about. The first strike of a lightning spell is always in the center. It's always where you drop it. For every one of those, wherever you use it in the sequence of spells that you bring, the first strike, know that it's always going to go in the center. And then from there on, the pattern just changes slightly. Each spell has 6 strikes. First one goes in the center, and all of them have a 2-tile splash. So taking that all into account and knowing all the patterns, guys, you're never going to miss a CC again. It's pretty crazy. That's all I have for you. This was just a strategic short for you guys. If you have any questions, hit us up on Twitter or leave a YouTube comment. I'll try to answer it for you. Until next time, guys, this is Swide from Hebrew Legends. You have a good one.